You're listening to the Women's Euros live on TalkSport 2 with McDonald's, over the iconic Big Arch on the McDonald's app. So both sets of players shaking hands ahead of this one. Some iconic players in the women's game in both these sides. Ada Hegerberg captaining Norway today, of course, got her 50th international goal recently. How important is she, Leanne, for Norway?
Yeah, she's an unbelievable player. I mean, the fact that she didn't play for her national team for a number of years due to how she was feeling, within the federation. Now she's captaining the side, like, fair play to her, and she's a top player. One thing I will say, Flo, she needs service. And I think, in the previous games, she didn't play in the last game due to being rested. But I think, when you look at the group they are in with Switzerland, Finland and Iceland, you expect them to get out of that group pretty comfortably. Gone into that last group game, they already knew they were going to top the group. But I still think they've been really underwhelming, and I think I'm ready for them to push on in this competition. The individuals they have are brilliant players, but we're yet to see that.
And that's been the case for quite a few years, really, for Norway. All of us England fans, of course, will remember the 8-0 drubbing we served them up in the last Euros. I'm not expecting anything like that today. And what will be interesting as well is they've brought in Signe Gopset, the young attacker who did so well against Iceland, alongside Reiten. And it'll be so interesting to see how that blend works, because Gopset and Mornham played really well together in that Iceland game. And is it about finding connections and combinations?
Yeah, I think the chemistry is a big thing. And Gemma Granger, I did say she'd have to find, a way potentially leaving one of the heavy hitters out of the line. She hasn't had to do that within this. She's, altered the team, and Gera Reiten, I've no doubt, will play a little bit higher. You have to find, sometimes you have to leave out the best players in order for the chemistry to work. And I agree with you, Mornham was excellent. Gopset getting that goal, both of them scoring in that game. If you're sitting on the bench, if I was Hegerberg, if I was Caroline Graham-Hansen, I'd probably like to have come into that game against Iceland, because, they were winning pretty comfortably 4-1, and in the end it was 4-3. So Iceland, I think, they've been a poor side within this competition, but I think the Italians can look at that and think, actually, we can get out them. But I don't think the Italians can sit off this Norwegian team. I think they have to high press in a way that Italians are not usually high pressing, and I think they need to not give too much respect to this Norwegian team, because they've been poor for me.
I think they have lost the fear factor that they used to have, Norway, because they've got such a star-studded group of individuals, but as a collective, they don't really put the fear into other teams anymore. So both sets of players on the pitch. Cristiana Girelli, the Italian captain, 35 years of age now, probably her last Euros, but she's still very much going good for club and country. She is in the centre circle. In fact, it's Giuliano in the centre circle to take the kick-off for Italy as the countdown rings around the stadium. And we're underway then. Italy in their change strip, not in blue for once, in their light green, mint looking like kit, shooting from right to left. Norway in their home strip with the blue shorts and socks and the red top. Norway, as we said, a team full of individual stars who together for their national side have been perennial underachievers in recent years. Can they break that narrative tonight? Italy, a team full of collective spirit and passion, looking to show they can go toe-to-toe with Europe's best. Alongside me, as I said, England player Leanne Sanderson. You've played top level of international football. How important is it in these early stages?
Yeah, just to get that confidence we've seen early on, 30 seconds into the game. Sofia Cantore actually backheeled it out of play. You can see Caruso was like, why would you do that? But I think when you're in these types of games, I'd be looking to get my touches early on, gain that little bit of confidence.
And an early moment here actually for Italy to lift the ball into the penalty area, because when Cantore backheeled it out of play, Caruso was actually fouled. So Italy have a free kick right of centre, midway inside Norway's half, but they've brought forward Salvai, centre-back, Linari, big centre-back as well, Girelli as well, one of the best headers of the ball in European women's football. No player scored more headed goals in Europe's top 5 leagues last season than her. So Giuliano over to deliver this, and it's lifted towards the penalty spot. It goes over everyone and will be carried out of the box by Arsenal's Frida Mornham.
It's quite a strange ball into the box, really. We know that Lisa Bertin is usually the player that takes the set pieces she's not in the starting 11. It was a decent ball in, but nobody really read that. And it was interesting because Norway actually brought everybody back on that set piece. I was quite surprised that Hegerberg was back in there because, you know, you mentioned Cristiano Girelli, but other than that, apart from Salvai, they're not really known for being very good in the air, the Italians. So it was interesting to see Norway bringing everybody back on that set piece.
2 minutes played. You're listening to Talk Sport 2, the Women's Euros. Norway 0, Italy 0 as Norway are coming forward with Bielda. Cuts to the byline, then Linari, Italy's centre-half, blocks it and knocks it out for the first corner of the game, and it's a corner for Norway.
Yeah, good play for Bielda down this right-hand side. I'd expect, you know, Lund would have been probably that player that would have been in that position as well had she not picked up those 2 yellow cards, getting that red card. Silly in the last game, you know, they're 4-1 up and picks up, you know, they were in cruise control, but Bielda did really well there getting down that right-hand side.
Guru Reiten of Chelsea won the treble, domestic treble this season with Chelsea. Takes it short to Graham Hansen, receives it back and plays the ball towards the back post. Golf set, backtracking, tried to get ahead on it. It rolls out towards the corner flag, which she collects. Norway and then make a bit of a meal of it, and Italy managed to clear. And looking at how Norway are shaping up, Leanne, Guru Reiten is a left back.
Yeah, and it's interesting as well because sometimes you do have to find a way to put your best players out there, but I do think that's an interesting one because Gopset has to play, but then for me you then probably take out, I mean, Hovigsson's been put on the bench, Mjolder's then starting in that centre-back position, and Guru Reiten, we know she has a fantastic engine, but I like her higher up the field.
And she's not a natural left back. I suspect Cantore and Caruso will be looking at that thinking, we need to try and get in behind her.
Yeah, definitely, and that's something they'll look at. I'm sure the Italians looked at this team sheet and thought the same as we did, Flo, that Guru Reiten would be higher, you know, but that's not the case, and Hansen would drop into that position. She was obviously pretty comfortable there. I think Guru Reiten's one of those players you could probably put her anywhere and she'll do a job, but like I said, depending on how the game pans out, I'd expect to see her a little bit higher as the game goes on.
On the ball now, Reiten, over 100 caps for this Norway side. Finds Gopset, is playing higher up in that left forward position. Had such a great game against Iceland, scored 2 goals, got 2 assists. As the ball goes all the way back to Italy's goalkeeper who made her 100th cap last time out against Spain, Giuliani. Was struggling with a bit of a groin injury in that match. Stopped a couple of times to get treatment and was struggling with her kicking, but seems to be okay. And all yellow, white gloves and white boots, plays it out and forward. Guglielmo, who plays that into Bonansea, charging towards the penalty area, but it's good tracking back in the end from Manchester United's Norlsund, and Norway nicked the ball back.
Yeah, good recovery run from Norlsund because Bonansea, when she picks up the ball, she's very, very direct. She's usually got one thing on her mind, and that's going for goal or providing an assist. That was good recovery from Norlsund.
It's out in the left back position for Norway with Reiten. She fires it forward looking for Gopset, but it comes straight back at Reiten, who heads it forward. Gopset and Mornham combining. Then it's a combination play with Hegerberg. A challenge though from Salvai, and Italy win the ball back and have it with their centre-half Salvai. 5 minutes played, still goalless here. This is the first quarter-final in the Women's Euros here on TalkSport 2. We've got coverage of all the quarter-finals coming up, including England's one tomorrow, 8 p.m. against Sweden. That's live on TalkSport. I think Sweden actually might be a difficult team for England.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I've been asked many times who would we rather play, Germany or Sweden, and I think if you asked me this question 3 years ago, I'd say I would want to stay away from Germany, but I think the way the German team have played in this tournament, they've been quite underwhelming as well, but you can never write that German team off. I think it's going to be really difficult for England against Sweden, but I still have faith.
England and Sweden on this side of the draw with Norway and Italy. A lot of people calling this the favourable side of the draw because you avoid Spain, France and Germany, but you never know in knockout football.
No, you just got to play the games in front of you. I think, like, people were talking, as a player, when I've been in this position before, you just kind of go out there, you want to win every single game. I think for the coaches, they're probably thinking, if we do come second, you know, you will have an easier run to the final. When we got to the final in 2009 in Finland, we actually came third, Flo. And because they used to do that whole third best runner-up, we actually had an easier run to the final, which it blows my mind, really.
Italy's manager, Andrea Songchin, watching on, got his sleeves rolled up. Very passionate figure. It seems to be a really good collective spirit amongst this Italian team, something that's been very much missing from Norway for a number of years. But they really celebrated when they lost against Spain, but made it out of the group, Italy, and they're hoping to use that momentum to propel them forward into the semi-final as Linare passes it out to Di Guglielmo, the three Italian centre-halves in position, as Salvai now plays it forward to Giuliano of Roma in the centre circle. She plays a long forward ball looking for Bonansea in behind. The good ball out on the left flank. Bonansea will drive into the penalty area. Bielda manages to usher her away and knock the ball into the path of her teammate Graham Hansen, who will try and carry it out for Norway. Got a goal in the early stages. That's given up poorly though. Caruso now on the edge of the penalty area. Still going, Ariana Caruso, and she just pokes it wide. Goal kick for Norway, but Italy nearly get the opening goal.
Brilliant play from Ariana Caruso centrally. They turn over the ball. Wilson turns over the ball centrally, and Ariana Caruso, you could see what she was trying to do, trying to get it out of her feet. Really good defending in the end, because it actually goes out for a goal kick. 9 times out of 10 it goes out for a corner. But centrally you could see Ariana Caruso, Mjelde couldn't bring her down. Hansen had to come across and put in a tackle.
Not actually a great moment there from Mara Mjelde, was it? She went for a bit of a tackle and just air kicked it, but Norway get away with that one. Still 0-0, 8 minutes played, as Hegerberg heads the ball onto Graham Hansen. It's now Mornham trying to latch onto it, but Bonansea is back and plays it all the way back to her goalkeeper. Hegerberg applying the press. Turned 30 the other day, which actually surprised me because she's been around for so long. I always thought she'd be about 35 by now, but she's still very much in the prime of her career as Italy play it out for a throw-in for Norway.
She is, and when you consider she didn't play for a national team for 5-6 years, you know, she's such a great player, great goal scorer. I think when she was out with that ACL injury, she came back, and everybody's always looking, is she going to be the same player? She picked up a number of injuries this year, so she's been in and out of the Lyon lineup. But I do think with her, you need to provide her a service. She's the type of centre forward that the ball needs to find her. She doesn't come and find the ball. And I think someone like Guro Reiten and Gupset is very direct, and I think she could be the difference in this game, where she can provide the service for Hegerberg.
Italy in possession with Salvai in the centre circle, 5 yards inside her own half. Norway has dropped into their own half. Deep, it's now put Cristiana Girelli back to goal. Mjelde was there with her, but Italy come forward. Oliviera with the ball across. Norway clear, and the clearance is a fortuitous one as it finds Graham Hansen, who bursts past Giuliano. Still going here, Graham Hansen, past Girelli as well. Still going, Graham Hansen. That's 3 Italian players she's beat. Linare's got back though to go alongside her. Picks out Mornham on the corner of the penalty box. Mornham tries to lift it in, hits the Italian player, and Italy get away with it. But a little flash there of how effective Graham Hansen can be.
What a run that was from Caroline Graham Hansen down this right hand side. I mean, the Italians, those 4 or 5 players, one of them even tried to swipe her out. It was fantastic play, and then she ends up finding Mornham centrally. So it's fantastic play from Caroline Graham Hansen. I think she's showing why she's the 2nd best player in the world.
Good season again with Barcelona, despite them not winning the Champions League, because Arsenal of course won that, as Italy's goalkeeper hits the ball long. 10 minutes played, Norway get to test the Italian goalkeeper. Italy with one decent chance through Ariana Caruso, but still 0-0 here on TalkSport 2.
The spaces are definitely flow like central. You can see the Italians have got out a little bit. They're dinking balls into the midfield. Girelli's dropping off. Sabrini's dropping off in those areas as well. So I think that's where they're getting a lot of joy. I'm quite surprised that I know we're only 10 minutes into the game, but Norway are sitting off of the Italians quite, you know, in a way I didn't expect them to. I'd expect them to be high pressing, you know, and I want them to have a little bit more bite, this Norwegian team. So I think the Italians, 10 minutes in, look more up for it.
Norway in possession now, and the ball's put in behind, looking for the run of Ada Hegerberg. She's up against Linare. Linare gets there first, pokes it back to her goalkeeper, and the whistle is blown anyway by our referee Stephanie Frappart for a foul on Linare. Free kick Italy.
Great tackle, great defending from Linare. She had to do everything right here because Hegerberg was breathing down her neck, and it was an interesting one, Flo, coming into the tournament, because Linare is usually the captain, and then, you know, taking the captaincy off her, giving it to Cristiana Girelli. Like, usually that can cause a little bit of discontent within the camp, but I'm not seeing that. You know, Linari has that passion. She's always that player in the anthems that you look at, you know, and has that kind of like Italian, like that. She makes you want to play football. Whenever I see her play, I played against her a number of times. She's so difficult to play against, and she has that heart and that passion, whether she's got the captain armband on or not.
Played every minute so far at this Euros for Italy. Elena Linari in defence as the Italians come forward. A wonderful ball volleyed out towards Bonansea. Can she keep it in? Yes, she can. Tries to poke it past Bielda, but it's off the Norwegian and out for a throw for Italy. She's only 34 years of age, but Bonansea is full of running.
Yeah, I mean, I played with her at Juventus, and honestly, she is so fit. I mean, a lot of the Italians are really, really fit. I think the misconception is Italian football is really slow because it's the most intense environment I've ever played in.
The Italian move breaks down, and Norway have it with Arsenal's Frida Mornum. Finds Gopset on the left. She goes back to Guru Reiten. So odd seeing Reiten in the left back position, and field to Ingrid Engen, who tried the ball in behind, but wasn't on the same wavelength as her teammate there, and Italy nick it back.
Yeah, I mean, for Engen, I'm not quite sure why they don't put her in at centre back. You know, I've seen her play there a number of times for Barcelona, and I actually think she's better there. I just don't think she looks comfortable in that centre midfield role. Borarisa's usually alongside her as well, and I think they've been really underwhelming. But I do think Engen would be better in that centre back role. She just doesn't look comfortable in midfield.
Bonansea on the ball again, as getting a bit of joy down this left-hand side for Italy. Gets past Bielda, whips it in with her left foot, hits Norseland, and she'll let it roll out for a throw-in level with Norway's penalty area. But Italy getting in behind and getting a bit of space on that left flank.
Yeah, Bonansea is having a field day out there. It was a fantastic ball out previously from Caruso centrally, and you can see that's definitely a space they're trying to occupy down that area alongside Bielda.
Ball hooked out of the penalty area from that throw-in from Mielda. Previous Chelsea player, apparently hasn't actually got a club yet, as put forward by Salvai into Severini, who tried to cushion it back to the edge of the box for Caruso, but instead it finds Mornum. Slides it out to Gopset, who puts the ball back to Guru Reiten, and a little bit slow in the build-up from Norway.
So pedestrian flow. I mean, I think I'm quite surprised that they're in a 4-5-1, you know, when they're like attacking and defending. Like, they're sitting so deep against this Italian team. Like, it makes no sense to me, because these are the types of games that I'd expect the Norwegian team to take it to the Italians, but they're slowing the ball down. You know, there's not really many options.
As Guru Reiten plays a diagonal ball flicked on by Hegerberg. Graham Hansen in the penalty area, but wide out by the corner flag. Back to Bielda. Her ball in isn't a good one, but it's a hash clearance, and it breaks for Gopset, who flicks it in, and the Italian goalkeeper Giuliano jumps highest, snatches that out of the air before Hegerberg could get there.
Yeah, it was a decent diagonal ball, you could see previously, from Reiten to Hegerberg, but the fact that's their only option, I mean, not many teams, I'm all for going route one and direct if you can have one pass. They dealt with it really well in the end, the Italians, but I do think, you know, Guro Reiten, she put her foot on the ball, was slowing it down, it was very pedestrian, there was no movement in the midfield.
15 minutes played. You're listening to Women's Euros live on Talk Sport 2 with McDonald's. Try the new Big Arch now. Norway 0, Italy 0. As Norway, again, pedestrian, play it out from the back, lose it. It's now with Girelli. Ball into Caruso, tried to take it on the half turn, just on the edge of the box, but it just ran away from her and through to the Norwegian goalkeeper.
Yeah, it's just so poor from Engen, and that's why I talk about her being better in that centre-back position, because when you're receiving the ball in that centre-back position, you've got more time to think. In the midfield area, you don't have much time to think, as she turns over the ball and Caruso nearly gets on the end of it.
It's now with young Signe Gopset, 20-year-old for Norway. Had a bit of a standout performance last time against Iceland, really made the name for herself. Can she do the same tonight? Combines well with Mornum into Hegerberg, who plays the 1-2. Gopset gets the delivery, falls for Hegerberg, but it just bounces off her shin. The ball in, not quite what she expected. It's back with Gopset. This is a little better from Norway. Mornum plays it in, and it's too close to the goalkeeper, and Giuliani will gather.
Yeah, better play from Gopset. You could see they were trying to 1-2 with Hegerberg. It was difficult in the end for Hegerberg because it took a deflection off Linari. By the time it got to Hegerberg, it was a big ask asking Hegerberg to take this in her stride. But that's where I think Norway can get a lot of joy. Whenever Gopset's got the ball, you know, she's trying to look, she's trying to find Hegerberg, and I think that's where they can get some joy, especially out wide.
Italy, Severini on the ball. Midfielder for Fiorentina. Long blonde hair, curly blonde hair and a ponytail. Not many Italian players with blonde hair. Easy to spot, although I'm not sure she's a natural blonde, not like Julia.
Yeah, I'm all natural me, Flo.
It's a poor pass actually from Severini, and it goes out for a throw-in for Norway, right in front of the Italian coach in a smart suit, as the Italians always are. Norway not in a rush to come and take this throw-in. And as we said already, 17 minutes played, still 0-0, but Norway playing at quite a slow pace.
Yeah, it's hard to really see what their game plan is when they've been in this tournament. I think there's definitely been progress from the last Euros, but it couldn't get much worse, you know, than what it was last Euros. So, I don't know, I just think they individually, they're very, very good, but as a team, they just never seem to have that, they don't fill me with a lot of fear. You know, if England were to play against them, I don't have that fearlessness that I feel like, you know, you expect. You look at their players like Gura Reiten, Hegerberg, Mornham, like the list could go on. They're players that I would love in my team. But then collectively, it just never seems to get done.
And the games in the group stages as well, 2-1, 4-3 over Iceland. Of all the teams left in the competition, they've conceded the most goals. So they can be got at. And Italy coming forward now with Severini, corner of the penalty area on the left. Slides it through to Guglielmo. It's back with Bonansea. She lifts it into the penalty area, met though by Tuva Hansen, and then cleared on the follow-up by Gopes. 18 minutes played, still no attempt from Norway.
I think my concern for this Norwegian team as well is that they've conceded the most goals against really poor opposition, and I think they're sitting so deep. Like the Italians must be thinking, why is no one pressing us? You know, so Wise now got the ball, able to find the player. Like there's no pressure on the ball.
And now Bonansea has got loads of space on the left-hand side here. Puts a good ball in across, and it's met by two Italian players, and they contrive to head it out. Girelli and Severini getting in each other's way, really, and that was a golden opportunity for Girelli.
Yeah, it was, and it was fantastic play from Bonansea. Very, very direct. Puts the ball in that danger zone. It's difficult because they just got caught in two minds, really, Severini and Girelli. I'd like to see Severini maybe mix up her run there, because of all the players you'd want in that position, it would be Cristiana Girelli, one of the best in the air, and you can see she goes down in frustration. They just got caught in each other's way. These things happen, but I think Severini needs to be that secondary run, as opposed to Girelli's already gone to the front post, but just a miscommunication between the two.
Severini looking a little sheepish after she clashed heads with Girelli. Girelli looking like she's got a face full of frustration.
I don't think Severini will be making that run again.
As the ball goes off, Cantore in behind for Norway goal kick. Good number of Norwegian fans here in the stadium in Switzerland. Italy also have shown up. As we approach the 20th minute mark, still Norway 0, Italy 0, and Norway yet to have an attempt at all. They were a bit slow in terms of both in terms of their group games of getting started. They did look better after a bit of time, but it's been another slow start.
It has, and I just think they're sitting so deep. You know, if each player can just go about 10-15 yards a little bit higher, then I feel like they can get a lot of joy. I mean, Hegerberg is so far away from the opposition goal, it's happy days for them, really. If you're a centre-back and Hegerberg's all the way down the halfway line, or when they're on the attack, it's like happy days all day long, really.
Gopset trying to get in behind Oliviero, who scored against Spain last time out. It's good play from the wing-back, and Caruso then holds it up well and draws the foul from Hegerberg, who gives her a mouthful of what she thinks about that. Frustration from Hegerberg. Caruso looking to respond, and the two players just jog away as Italy come forward with the Guglielmo down his left-hand side into Bonansea. Back to the diminutive figure of Giuliano in the centre, plays it through for Severini, in on goal now. Severini straight at Fiskerstrand in the Norway goal, and Norway just cut apart with ease.
Yeah, Giuliano plays a fantastic little ball. Too easy for me. Norway are just sitting so deep. Caruso that played the ball through to Severini, and to be honest, she never really looked convincing, Severini, when she picked up that ball. I think it was on her weaker foot, because for me there was no conviction in the shot. It's always going to be a comfortable save for Fiskerstrand. If Sev really doesn't feel comfortable in that position, she could have put it across the box because Girelli was there, Cantore was there, and Cantore actually had wide arms, you know, as if to say square it, because she'd have had a tap in.
Italy do have a corner though from this. Can they break the deadlock? It is Giuliano over to take the corner. And it comes in swinging towards the front post, cleared by Hegerberg, and then it strikes the arm of Cantore in the penalty area. Free kick for Norway in their own box.
That's a harsh free kick, that, because I'm not really sure what Cantore could have done in that position, but I think the ref has to give that, because then if Cantore puts it back into the box and they score, then Norway will be really disappointed.
Italy with 3 attempts to Norway's 0 so far as we approach the midway point of this first half. Still 0-0, as I mentioned earlier. These two sides met in qualifying for the Euros. 0-0 the first game, 1-1 the second, so they are quite closely matched in terms of where they are in the kind of standings of world and European women's football.
I think Italy have looked far better than Norway in this game. I think they've had more conviction, I think they've had more speed of play, and I think, you know, at some point soon they need to kind of convert their chances, because I expect Norway to kind of push on. We all expect them to push on, but for me, in the most polite way, I think Norway are quite boring to watch. And they're boring in a way that we don't expect them to be boring. You know, the players they've got individually, I love watching them play for their clubs. Some of them play for the best clubs in the world and are consistent.
First yellow card of the game just been given out for Lisa Norsund, who's struggling a little bit in the midfield there, just pulling down Di Guglielmo as she tried to break away. I was quite surprised not to see Boa Risa in the midfield for Norway, although you were less surprised by that, Leanne?
Yeah, I mean, I think Boa Risa is a top player, but I think in this tournament, you know, hasn't been great. She got pulled in the first game at half-time, then she got pulled after 60 minutes in the last game. But I do think they need a little bit more creativity, a little bit more speed of play and pace, because they look off the pace in the midfield.
Goal set coming forward, they're up against Oliviero. Her ball ricochets off the Italian wing-back and behind for a Norway corner, and that's good work from the young forward, and that's why she's been brought in. She's been producing when the time has required it, and she's won a corner third side.
Yeah, she's excellent. I mean, when she's on the ball, good things happen, magic happens, and I think this is an opportunity here where Norway can really capitalise on. Historically, they're really good on set pieces. They usually do the stock corner on a penalty spot where they kind of all go in a line, and it's quite difficult to defend.
Hegerberg so good as well in the air, scored a headed goal in the group stages. Her only goal of the tournament so far, though, as it's lifted in towards Hegerberg. It goes over her as she's kind of wrestling with Caruso. Collected by Gopset, though. Gets it onto her left. Cuts it back to Bieldo, and it's a poor delivery. And Girelli, Italy's striker and captain, is back there to clear all the way to Tuva Hansen. She chips it out to Mornum. Mornum with her right foot lifts the ball back into the penalty area. It's headed on by Mielder, and then the flick on from Hegerberg, but hooked away by Linari, and there's an Italian player down in the penalty area holding her head, and the referee is going to come and have a look to make sure she's okay. It's Bonansea.
Yeah, it was quite strange because Mara Mielder actually flicked the ball on, and I think it caught everybody off guard, because I'd expect Lara Giuliani to come out and get this one. The ball, by the time it bounced, you know, was more or less on a 6-yard box. She kind of got caught in two minds, and then Bonansea and Hegerberg go up for the header in that area.
Barbara Bonansea back up on her feet. She looks supposed to be okay. Just knocked heads with Ada Hegerberg. He's got hairband in, matching the Norway kit colours, red, white and blue. You can see a number of Norway fans in the stands with the full Norway flag painted on their face. That's going to be a real effort to rub that off later this evening. 20 minutes to go till half-time. Still 0-0. Norway struggling to create chances. Italy looking direct. Looking more of a threat than the Norwegians.
That was an interesting decision for the Italians to actually play out from the back, because it was the first time that Norway had actually pushed on the edge of the 18-yard box, and they got quite fortunate in the end. It went out for an Italy throw, but I think Norway could really capitalise on that. I'm not a big fan, Flo, of when centre-backs take goal kicks. I don't understand why the centre-back would take the goal kick and pass it back to the goalkeeper, because you're inviting pressure on. It makes no sense to me.
When I play football, Leanne, the centre-back used to hit the goal kick because the goalkeeper couldn't kick it far enough.
Exactly, it's like sweeper-keeper, you know.
Free kick for Italy just inside their own half. Linari here to take, plays it into Giuliano, who just wears number 6 in her shirt, and she just sits just in front of the Italian back three, and she's so good at orchestrating the play, so good at picking out a pass, finding a pocket of space. Really enjoyable player to watch. Fired up to Girelli, she knocks it on to Caruso, plays the ball forward into Cantore, who gets there ahead of the defender Wrighton. Cantore now on that right hand side up against Wrighton. Her cross off Wrighton, out for an Italian corner. And I'm surprised really that Cantore and Italy haven't tried to go more at Guru Wrighton.
Yeah, I was just about to say that they haven't switched the point of attack. They've been looking to go down the left-hand side with Bonancia a number of times, and I think Guru Wrighton does really well there, considering it's not a natural position defensively. I'd expect Cantore being so direct. They need to find her the ball a little bit more.
Didn't score in the group stages, Cantore, but was such a key part of this Italy attack. Really stretches the play, a real runner. One of the fastest players on the pitch as well. Giuliano over to deliver this. Most of the Italian players clustering around the penalty spot. And it's lifted in towards that spot, goes through and over everyone. Linari will collect on the edge of the box. Back to Caruso, plays a nice little 1-2 with Linari. The Italian centre-halves have stayed forward as it's played back into the penalty area. Girelli with the ball across. Cantore lets it bounce. Engen headers it out. Norway struggling to clear their lines here as it's back with Caruso 30 yards from goal on the left-hand side. Cantore's drifted over to the left and Norway press, but Italy come forward. Caruso now has spotted the run of Girelli at the back post. Finds Girelli, but the header is off the Italian number 10 and behind for a Norway goal kick.
Yeah, Italy did really well here. Caruso did a good job, and Cantore keeping this alive. Nice little 1-2 with Bonancia centrally. You could see Caruso was trying to pick out Girelli on that far post.
Goal kick then for the Norwegians, who are still not looking great going forward. In fact, there's actually a potential penalty check here. VAR has just come up on the screen for a handball. We're seeing on the replay, Leanne, describe what we're seeing. What will you think of that?
Yeah, it's interesting because Wrighton's gone up with Cristiano Girelli. It doesn't, to me, look like, it looks like Guru Wrighton's got everything looking at the play. This will be a really harsh one if this is given. I mean, I've seen them give them flow.
Check over, no penalty.
Yeah, I like that decision. I mean, you just never know nowadays, do you? I mean, we get given the rules and about it being out of the width of the body and all those types of things, and I've seen those ones given, to be fair, but none of the players were appealing, and I think that's very telling. Obviously players don't see everything, and players do appeal when it's not even a foul 9 times out of 10, but I like the way they did that nice and quick as well. It wasn't like a long VAR check.
Yeah, very experienced referee as well, Stephanie Frappart, French referee, first woman to referee a men's World Cup match, and has done loads of massive games in the women's game as well. Approaching the half an hour mark, still 0-0. Women's Euros, first quarter-final between Norway and Italy. It's back with Italy's goalkeeper, Giuliani.
I think Italy look like they have more of a game plan, to be honest. I think with Norway, it almost looks like they're setting up every single game the same. It doesn't matter who their opponent is, and it isn't really working. I'm quite surprised that they haven't switched things up a little bit tactically, because every single game for Norway looks the exact same way. It's hard to know what they're doing on attack. It's hard to know what their movements are defensively as well. And I think Italy have really got the upper hand in this game. Having said that, it is still only 0-0. And the quality individuals that this Norwegian team have, they can switch the game in the blink of an eye.
It is really confounding. It's hard to put your finger on why it's not working for Norway.
They're just chasing shadows as well. It's almost like you see the ball there being given to Linari and Salvai in the centre-back position, and Hegerberg's looking over her shoulder. Should I press? And they're just almost a second or two late in their press. It's all very well keeping the Italians in front of you, but then the Italians are getting out quite a lot.
Once again, this has been said a lot this one, but they look like a team of individuals rather than a collective team with a set game plan. I think you've mentioned that, what is the game plan, as Bonancia latches onto a good ball and plays the ball into the Norway penalty area, collected by Severini. Italy on the attack here. This is nice. Bonancia creates a little bit of space in the box. Breaks then for Di Guglielmo, who just snatched it really, fired wide, but Italy looking very good, and Bonansea looking really sharp.
Yeah, Di Guglielmo did a really good job initially to play the ball to Bonansea inside as well, and you could see exactly what they were trying to do, but again, it's too easy for me. Norway is so far off. You know, they're just 1 or 2 yards just off the pace, this Norwegian team. And it's interesting because we mentioned they're a team of individuals, but they're not selfish. It's weird because when you say a team of individuals, people would think, you know, they don't pass the ball, you know, they're selfish in their play. It's almost like they've never played together before. Every single game I watch them play, it's like there's just no chemistry at all.
Whereas the Italian team are really full of chemistry and passion. There's a lot of discussion in the media from them, from their fans, from the players about how great the Italian environment is.
Yeah, it is, and they love each other. I mean, I can speak true to that from playing in Italy myself, and it was like whenever I was at training, it was like I was preparing the Italians to go to a Euros, you know, although we were preparing ourselves. And I think, you know, the training environment is so intense over there. I think people, you know, the misconception is it's really laid back and stuff. It's the most intense environment I've ever played in.
Italy on the attack again with Caruso, a player you played with at Juventus, but she was a younger player then. Really flowered into an excellent forward.
Yeah, I'm really proud of Caruso because I was with her at Juventus when she was 19 years old, young player then, and she's kind of one of their main players. I think if anyone's going to score or anything good, it's going through Caruso. You know, she's over in Bayern Munich now. Not many Italians move.
Why leave Italy when the food's so good and the temperature's so nice, eh? Norway coming forward now, though. Gopset on the edge of the penalty area. Cuts it back to Engen. And I'm a little surprised there because she looked so direct and sharp in the game against Iceland. Surprised she didn't just try and shift that onto her right foot and shoot, really.
Yeah, they just don't look like they just... And then there's no real reaction either. It's almost like nobody seems to have that oomph. Do you know, like injection of pace, or it's like they're kind of, you know, dilly-dallying out to their press, and then they don't press, and no one's really saying anything. You know, where is the leadership coming from?
We've criticised Norway quite a lot, but it's still 0-0 here, and they're on the attack now. Frida Mornum cuts it back to Engen. She plays it out to Hegerberg in the penalty area, touches it down. 2 Italian players in front of her, so she goes back to Wrighton. She lifts it in to nobody, and it floats over everybody. Goes behind for an Italian goal kick.
Yeah, I think the thing about this Norwegian team, it reminded me of the game against Finland. Finland were exceptional in that game and still lost it due to individual brilliance. And I think when you have these types of players in your team like Hegerberg, Giro Wrighton, Caroline Graham-Hansen, I think, you know, that's where the problem lies. We've been very critical of Norway, and I think rightfully so, but it's still only 0-0. And Italy haven't scored in this game, and I think that that could come back to bite them in the second half, because the individual brilliant players they have, Norway, I think, are on a different level, but we're just not seeing it.
Just over 10 minutes to go to the break. Norway 0, Italy 0. Forward ball from Di Guglielmo is intercepted, but as Mawson tries to play it out from the back for Norway, she knocks it out on the halfway line for a throw-in for the Italians. Di Guglielmo back to Roma's Giuliano.
I actually thought Bizet was actually really good against Iceland as well, and I think she was one of those players that I would have started in this game because I think she offers something different. She's always available, you know, similar to Giuliano in that midfield area for Italy. I feel like they always find her.
Elizabeth Turland as well, Manchester United's Elizabeth Turland on the bench for Norway, so they've got options should they want to use them, as Lenare, in fact Salvai collects the ball, travels over the halfway line, plays it out to Giuliano, who taps to the left to Cantore, but it's a poor pass out from Guru Wrighton, and Cantore loses it to Gopset in the centre circle. Good strength from her to find Graham Hansen. She's not out wide though, she's in field, and she goes back to Bielda, who finds Mielda.
I think Gopset's that player that, you know, in tournaments where teams will start to think, I have no doubt that we could see her playing potentially in WSL at some point in the near future.
Really good ball in behind here. Norway's Bielda gets the ball across looking for Hegerberg, and it's so close to going in. Ricochets off Hegerberg, off the goalkeeper, off a defender, and behind, and that actually probably the best chance of the game actually.
Yeah, it was the one time that Bonansea got done in behind, I think due to the way that Norway are playing. Bonansea is being forced back quite a bit. You know, Bielda does a really good job in the end. It was a fantastic ball through. Just couldn't quite find Hegerberg. Linari was there on the front post as well to defend it.
Really good defending from Linari, and we see that replay as well. Actually, she just gets there ahead of Hegerberg. Had she have not touched it, probably would have been met by Hegerberg, and it's a goal kick for Italy.
Yeah, and those are those moments that I think, Italy have to stay switched on. It was a really good through ball to be able to, the one time, like I said, that Bonancia got caught in behind. And Bonancia, she's done a fantastic job defensively, I think, because she's not known necessarily for her defensive work, but in this game she's having to get back quite a bit.
Brighton beats Cantore to the ball to clear. And we have it back with Bielsa on this right-hand side. Di Guglielmo pokes it out of play, throw in for Norway. It's thrown quickly to Hegerberg in the right-hand channel. Couldn't keep it in or control it. Falls over on her backside, and it's a throw in for the Italians deep inside their own territory.
It was interesting because against Iceland they made 6 changes, this Norwegian team, and if I was those players that were on the bench, I'd have loved to come into that game to get a little bit of confidence, because you'd expect them now to have had that, that break in that game. The likes of Hegerberg, Caroline Graham Hansen, Engen, and Caroline Graham Hansen, and I think they don't look fresh still. They still look a bit pedestrian. They still don't look sharp. And I think I just want a little bit of injection of pace for this Norwegian team. There's no doubt they're a top side, but I'm just not seeing it.
Ball one back by Ingrid Engen. She immediately coughs it up to Giuliano. Italy in possession. They've got more of the ball. They've had more of the ball than Norway in this opening 38 minutes, which is unusual for them because their average possession in the group games was 41%. Only Wales had a less percentage share of the ball. They're a team that doesn't need to play with the ball. They're very direct towards Italy. As the Norwegians come forward now, Mornum and Gopse in the left-hand attacking channel. Mornum goes all the way back to Guru Reiten, who helps it all the way back to Tuva Hansen, a yard inside her own half for Norway.
But this is an example of what I'm talking about. They were out on the left-hand side. Gopse had the ball. They could have then been direct. Norway are historically known for being a bit more direct, getting out wide, and then they go all the way back to the goal kick. They go back to the midfield, then they go back defensively, then all the way back to the keeper.
And they've got it back now, down this left-hand side with Gopse. Will they come forward or will they cut back? Gopse up against Oliviero. She drives to the byline, gets the ball across, cleared by Salvai, but it's a little more enterprising that from Norway.
Yeah, no doubt. Magic happens when Gopse's got the ball, and I think they need to find her the ball a lot more than they are in this game. It's like Engen has tried a couple of times to get the ball, it's been caught out. Norson, I think, has been poor in this first half, and I expect Gemma Grady to make substitutions in that midfield area, because I think that will make a lot more options centrally, because Hegerberg, we mentioned, hasn't touched the ball. Caroline Graham Hansen has been excellent when she has had the ball. They couldn't get it from her, so then why are they not trying to find their best players the ball? I just don't get it.
Giuliano on the ball now for Italy. All the Norway players back inside their own half. It goes out to Oliviero, the right wing back. She tries to take Cantore, who tries a bit of a clever trick, a little too clever, and Mornum now with a wonderful crossfield diagonal ball trying to pick up Graham Hansen, just a little over hit though, but you could see the idea and it was a good idea from her.
Yeah, decent diagonal ball from Mornum, trying to get in that right-handed space. It was really good defending from Italy.
40 minutes played, 0-0, still no attempt from Norway. That Hegerberg chance doesn't really count as an attempt, as it hit off the defender and then came off her, wasn't on target anyway. Italy with the better chances in the attacking third. Oliviero now's got in some space down this right hand side. She delivers it into the box, and Bonansé was ready to pull the trigger. Bielsa heading it before it fell to the Italian. Bonansé has it now though. She's driving at Bielsa, gets it in with her right foot. Girelli there winding up to shoot and goes down from Reiten in the box. Oliviero keeps it alive, behind for a corner, and Girelli looks in a bit of pain here, and I think Stephanie Frappart, the referee, and VAR might be looking at this for a penalty.
It looks like a sore one. It looks like both players just go for the ball, but no doubt Cristiana Girelli, this one will definitely hurt. It looks like she just ends up kicking Gira Reiten's calf in the end in the box. Originally when I saw it, it looked like a rough one, but to me it looks like potentially Giro Reiten does get to the ball first, and then Girelli actually kicks her.
Painful one for Girelli. It's behind for an Italian corner. I highly doubt this will be given as a penalty, although it was a little reckless from Guru Reiten. I thought it was very high as gloves were up.
It was, and it is reckless because when you're in the 18-yard box and you're in a penalty spot, you have to be spot on.
Girelli back up on her feet. Giuliano is trotted over to deliver this corner. Can the Italians break the deadlock, get a goal to open this game up before half-time? 3 minutes to go till the break. Girelli on the penalty spot. Got the two big centre-halves around her. In comes the delivery, and Hegerberg heads it clear. Caruso volleys from range, straight down the throat of Fiskerstrand, but a good effort from Ariana Caruso.
Yeah, really good effort. She has that in her locker, and Ariana Caruso. Most players here, they would panic, then it would go over sky high, but Caruso, it was always a comfortable save from Fiskerstrand in the end, but it was a great first touch from Caruso. You can see exactly what she was trying to do.
We can see the replay on our screens in front of us, and that is such a sweetly struck volley. Something really satisfying about that, isn't it?
Yeah, and you have to, the timing of that as well from Caruso on the edge of the box is difficult, because like I said, you have to hit the ball at a certain height and a certain distance as opposed to just lashing at it, and that's why most of the time players lean back and it goes over. It was always a comfortable save for Fiskerstrand in the end.
That's the voice of Leanne Sanderson, former England attacker. You're listening to the Women's Euros, live on TalkSport 2 with McDonald's. Try the big arch now. 2 minutes to go till half-time. Norway 0, Italy 0. As the long ball's played in the right-hand side, looking for Cantore. Smart play from her, knocks it off to Hansen, and the Italians have another corner. Late Italian pressure here at the end of this first half.
Yeah, it's interesting because they've tried that switch again down the right-hand side to Cantore. They haven't really done that as much as we'd expected. The fact that Giro Reiten is playing out of position on that left-back position. So I expect them to do a little bit more. They've left it a little bit late, the Italians, to do it in the end of the first half, but I expect them to do that a little bit more in the second half.
Giuliano over to take this corner. She takes all the set pieces for the Italians. Great passer of the ball, bit of a dead ball specialist as well. In it comes. Breaks for Caruso in the penalty area. Gets it onto her right. Flicks back to her left. Thinks it across. Cleared by Mornham. And Engen latches onto the clearance and tries to dribble it out for Norway. Good pressure from Caruso, but Engen does well. Finds Gopset on the right-hand side. She shrugs off the challenge and goes from range to catch the goalkeeper out. And I tell you what, Signe Gopset nearly scored a fantastic goal. Saw the keeper off her line, went from it from range, and it was only about a yard wide.
This is some effort from Gopset down this right-hand side. It's fantastic play from Engen. I've been quite critical of her during this tournament, but I think that was brilliant play. And that is some strike. Laura Giuliani had no chance in that situation, and she completely blindsided us because I did not. I thought she was going to switch it diagonally.
Signe Gopset has been a bit of a rising star for this Norway side, and that incident there proving why she's in Gemma Granger's starting 11. She brings something a little extra, a little flair.
Yeah, she's special. She's a special player, and I think for Gopset there'll be a lot of teams. We know she's at Brann right now, but there'll be a lot of teams looking at her because I think she's been one of my favourite players to watch during this tournament. And the fact that she thought about that in that moment, like what an effort that was, just in front of the halfway line, 10 yards in front of the halfway line, tries to catch the keeper off guard.
She's trying something, and that's what this Norway side needs. We're into 1 minute of injury time. This is good play here from Italy as Girelli finds Bonansea out by the corner flag on their left hand side. Bonansea delivers, and it's met by Cantore, cleared by Norway. Only so far though as Salvai. They're in a long plat, finds Linare. All the Norway players deep in their own half, looking just to see out this first half as Salvai plays it forward. Really poor ball straight to Norseland now, and Norway might have a chance to catch Italy on the break. Out to Gopset on the left, up against Oliviero. There's a wonderful ball looking for Graham Hansen, cleared by Linari, and there is the half-time whistle then. Ada Hegerberg has the ball on the centre circle spot. as the fans are milling out from the area after getting a tie and a pint. And Norway get us back underway then for this second half. So a place in the semi-finals up for grabs, up against either one of England or Sweden. 0-0 at the moment. Can one of these teams find that magic moment in the penalty box and win this game?
It was interesting because that's exactly what I'd like to see. Hegerberg in the middle of that circle, you know, trying to get the players going, trying to G them up. Just a little bit of passion that you want to see from Norway.
Throw in for Norway, 10 yards into the Italian half. Guru Reiten is over to throw it back onto the field of play. She's playing it left back today to make room for Signe Gopset. Throws it into the penalty area. Oliviero clears behind for a corner for Norway. Early chance then for the Norwegians. Neither side using any subs at half time, so it's the same starting 11. So I'll go through those in a moment after Norway put this corner in. Lisa Norsund of Manchester United over to take it. He actually played 11 times this season for United, injured for much of it. Takes it short to Graham Hansen. Graham Hansen lifts it into the penalty area, but it's headed clear by Bonacia. Put back towards the box by Bielda. Cantore clears for the Italians this time, and Reiten goes back to Tuva Hansen. So the Norwegian 11 then, Fiskerstrand in goal. Back for Bielda, Mielda, Engen. Sorry, Bielda, Mielda, Tuva Hansen and Reiten. Midfield, Engen, Mornum, Norsund, and then the front three, Graham Hansen, Hegerberg and Gopset, who's on the ball now and had a really audacious long-range effort in that first half. Italy on the ball. Bielda's picked out on the right-hand side, plays the ball in behind for Gopset. She cuts it back looking for Hegerberg. It's well met there by Guglielmo, who clears for the Italians.
Really good play from Norway, and it's exactly, 2 minutes into this second half. It's just what they can do when they possess the ball, find a way. Really good play from Bielda to Gopset, and they nearly found the ball to Hegerberg.
As for Italy, they didn't make any changes at the break either. Giuliano in goal, the three centre halves, Di Guglielmo, Linari and Salvai. Wing backs on the right is Oliviero, on the left is Bonacia. Three midfield players, Roma's Giuliano, Ariana Caruso for Bayern Munich, Fiorentina Severini, Girelli and Cantore in the attack as Bonacia comes forward. She's got Engen for company. Allowed to get the ball into the box, though far too close to Norwegian goalkeeper Fiskerstrand. And the Italian move breaks down 3 minutes into the second half, 0-0.
Yeah, we could see in the first half the Italians got a lot of joy down the left-hand side. I was quite surprised they didn't go down the right a little bit more with Cantore, given that Giro Reiten is playing in that left-back position. And I'd expect Gemma Granger to make that tactical change in around the 60th minute or so, push Giro Reiten a little bit higher, because at that point, if it's still 0-0, Giro Reiten certainly has done a really good job defensively, to be honest, given that's not her best position.
Chelsea's second highest goal scorer last season, despite missing actually quite a lot of the season with injury. Guru Reiten, who just tries the ball on her shirt, ready for the throw-in. Midway inside her own half, throws it forward to the halfway line where it's met by Hegerberg. She gifts it back though to the Italians. Caruso forward for Cantore in that right-hand channel, hooked out of play by Tuva Hansen. And Italy, Oliviero gets it under control and goes back to her goalkeeper. Now with Linari just 5 yards in front of her own penalty box, struts forward, picks out Di Guglielmo, the left-sided centre half of Italy's back three.
You see Italy are moving the ball a lot quicker. That was interesting there because I don't think they saw Hegerberg creeping.
Coming forward now, though, Cantore with space on the right in the penalty area, goes for goal, low across and finds the bottom corner. Italy strike first. Cantore's ball across. Might have been tapped in by Girelli. They won't care who gets it because the Italians are in front. Norway 0, Italy 1.
It was brilliant play from Cantore down this right-hand side. There was no doubt for me she was going for goal. They'll probably check this one as well to see if Girelli was offside, but she was in a great position. I think this is what sets Girelli apart from many, many players in world football. She can have a quiet game, but she's always in and around the 6-yard box. It's a poacher's goal, it's a poacher's strike, and it was a brilliant ball across from Cantore. It was the first time we've really seen her get isolated in this 1v1 situation with Giro Wright, and I said we were quite surprised, weren't we, Flo, that they didn't go 1v1 in these situations. You can see here, looks like Girelli just holds her run a little bit, gets a touch in the end. Fair play to the Italians, I think they deserve that.
Italy strike first then. Cantore with the assist, and it does nip off the toe of Girelli. It will be a Cristiana Girelli goal, her second of this tournament. Excellent finish. We can see it on the replay, and Guru Wrighton just caught a little narrow playing left back, and Italy punished them.
Definitely, and it was interesting because it's hard to really tell if Cantore's strike was going in the back of the net. You can see Severini was creeping on that left post as well. I'd like to think this ball was actually kind of going wide, and Girelli, nice little poacher's finish in there. It's exactly what she does, what makes her one of the best.
5 minutes into this second half then, and Italy leading Norway by a goal to 0, and that might be the spark to kick this Norway team into action, Leanne.
Yeah, definitely, and I was saying that, you know, you did speak, Flo, about them coming from behind, and they can do it, but they need something because they've been really flat, they've been really pedestrian.
And Italy surging forward now. Bonansea on the left up against Bielda. Has reached the penalty area, goes back to Giuliano. She lifts it into the boxing for Girelli, who meets the header, but it's off target. Behind for a goal kick. Girelli fuming. She feels that should have been a corner.
I love how direct the Italians are being as well. I don't think that is a corner. I think Girelli, you know, you're obviously as a player going to appeal. Looks like it could have taken a slight deflection. It's hard to tell. But I do think these Italians, you can see, they're not taking their foot off the gas. They're still pushing on. Although they've gone 1-0 up, it's now down to Gemma Granger to make something happen because the team haven't been good enough. They've looked flat. And it'll be interesting to see if any substitutions in and around the 60th minute mark. That's when coaches start to make those. But they definitely need something, this Norwegian team, because it hasn't been good enough.
Guru Wrighton exposed as Norway's left back. They are missing Brattberg Lund, of course. She was suspended after the Iceland game as Italy come forward again. Cantore, her ball across, again's a good one. Flicked away by a red-shirted player. Bonansea then from range. Save. Caruso hits it. Blocked. Severini hits it. Blocked. Cantore hits it. Goes under the goalkeeper. Italy think they've got a second, but the referee has blown the flag up for offside, but VAR will check this.
Yeah, it looked to me that it was actually Ariana Caruso that was offside in the first action, in the first play, and she was obviously affecting the goalkeeper. She actually ended up with the ball in the end, which kept the play alive. They will check this one, but Italy have done so well to keep this alive. Cantore hits a fantastic strike on the swivel, but I think I have a feeling this one will be chalked off because Caruso was offside, not Cantore.
That's a real shame for Sofia Cantore because that would have been her first goal at this Euros, and she's been excellent. But just waiting for that to be confirmed, but we can see from the replay that Caruso was in an offside position. She's in the way of the goalie's eye line, and she does also make a bit of an attempt for the ball to try and flick it on as well. Stephanie Frappart, French referee, just making sure that all the checks have been made, and she goes to carry on. Still Norway 0, Italy 1.
Yeah, I think that was a correct decision. It's pretty obvious to see. We've seen a similar situation with Germany and Nushkin as well in previous games when you're affecting the goalkeeper's eye line, but the ball actually fell to Caruso in that moment, so that's why the ball was kept alive. And yeah, I feel for Cantore, but it was definitely offside.
Now that could be a bit of a sliding doors moment because 2-0 up, and Norway might have struggled to come back into this, but a narrow lead. Norway still have plenty of time. We've only played 9 minutes in the second half. Italy with a free kick in the centre circle. Caruso now takes it on the half-turn midway inside Norway's half, up to Girelli. She loses out to Gokset. Norway failed to keep a clean sheet now in any of their last 13 Euro matches. As Bonansea collects on the left-hand side, goes from range. Not enough power, easily caught by Norway's goalkeeper Fiskerstrand.
Yeah, it was always going to be comfortable, but there was only one thing on Benancia's mind. As soon as she cut in from that left-hand side with her right foot, by the time it got to Visceran, it was almost, comfortable save in the end. But I do think it's interesting because Italy went 1-0 up, and they've seemed to have taken it to another level now. They seem to be pushing on even more. They're not stepping, taking their foot off the gas. They're not just possessing the ball. And, Gemma Granger, this Norwegian team, they have to do something because this is definition of insanity. They're not pushing on. They're not kicking in. They're not having the ball. They're just way off of it.
And they've had no attempts on target, Norway, 55 minutes into this game. Cantore now on the right, bursting forward. She's got Oliviero, her right wing back alongside her, up against Engen. Cantore manages to lift it in, too close to Norway's goalkeeper, who claims Norway look a little rocked.
Yeah, they do, and you can see again in this second half, Cantore's picking up the ball quite a lot down this right-hand side. Wasn't the best of balls in there, but there was still Severini was in there, Girelli was in there. There was a number of players in there being able to potentially put it in the back of the net if the ball did come.
Guru-Reiten at left back for Norway fires it forward. One back by Giuliano though, who loses out to Gobset. Arsenal's Frida Mornham plays the ball all the way back to Mjelde in the centre circle. She moves it out to the right hand side. It's now with Graham Hansen chalking their boots out on that right flank, driving in field, then looking for options. Beats Di Guglielmo with ease. Plays it forward for Bielda. Bielda plays it across the goal, and it's a awkward clearance from Salvai. Turns it behind for a corner.
Yeah, Salvai had a sigh of relief there, Flo, because she had no idea where this was going. It was a brilliant ball in from Bielda. Really difficult for defenders in that moment, but Salvai just takes a swing at it, and she has a sigh of relief that it's gone over the bar. You can see in her eyes she was thinking, I'm so glad I got away with that one.
They need to survive this corner though, Italy. Norway's Guru-Reiten has come over from left back to the right flank to take the corner. Got good aerial height in there. Hegerberg, Mornham, in it comes, in swinger. Caruso headers at the back post. Narsson collects, goes back to Tuva Hansen, finds United's Narsland. She plays the ball in and it's caught, but a penalty's been given. Hegerberg pulled to the ground in the eyes of the referee by Linari. Yellow card for the Italian centre half and a penalty for Norway.
Yeah, there was never a doubt in the referee's mind there. To me, it's quite poor from Linari because she makes no attempt to go for the ball. The ball's going through to Giuliani pretty comfortably, and Linari just kind of, there's not really much in this. It's clever play from Hegerberg, essentially just in and around the penalty spot. And once Linari gets caught the wrong side of Hegerberg, Hegerberg is really clever there. It is a really soft penalty for me, but as soon as you put your arms around a player in the penalty spot, in the penalty box, you know what's going to happen.
Might she be in an offside position though, Hegerberg, when the ball is played? They will be checking that. And Linari is fuming. She was doing that classic Italian hand movement of what, me? Surely not.
The problem is though, like, Linari has got her arms around Hegerberg, and we know Hegerberg is so clever, so smart in that moment, that as soon as you put your arms around the player, and I think you're right, Flo, to me it looked like it was offside on the initial play, so it'll be interesting to see what they're going to do here because it looked offside.
And this might be a get out of jail free card here for Norway. Definitely Frappart over as well, dishing out a yellow card to someone on the side. I think it's the Italian manager Andrea Sonchin. Yes, it is. Fuming with the decision given against his side, and it's a lifeline for the Norwegians.
Yeah, it's a really, really soft penalty, but again, in modern day football, if you put your arms around the player, I think Hegerberg has been really clever. Linari was the wrong side of Hegerberg in that moment. I understand why Sonchin is frustrated because it's a soft penalty, but she has got her arms around her.
Eda Hegerberg won the penalty and she's going to take it. Got the ball in her hands. Puts it on to the penalty spot, up against Giuliani. Italian goalkeeper, very experienced international. Referee blows the whistle. Big breath from Hegerberg, who steps up and hits it wide. Norway 0, Italy 1 still. Hegerberg misses from the spot.
What a miss that is from Hegerberg. I'm quite surprised that she stepped up because she actually missed one in the first group game. And it was a pretty bad miss as well, similar to this one. It's a really poor attempt from Hegerberg. You'd expect a player of her quality to at least hit the target. Poor penalty and a sigh of relief. You can see Ariana Caruso, Linari is so delighted in this moment, but it's a poor penalty from Hegerberg. Goes to her bottom right, keeper's left. To be fair to Giuliani, she actually gets the right way, but Hegerberg just gets it all wrong, and I have a feeling she won't be taking the next penalty if they were to get one, because she's now missed 2 in this competition already and completely missed the target.
And that means that Norway are still yet to have an attempt on target. A whole hour played, given the opportunity from the penalty spot, and Hegerberg, one of the world's best players, unable to even get it on target.
Yeah, it's poor from Hegerberg. You'd expect more from her in that situation, especially to not hit the target. And both her penalties have been really, really poor. Once you miss one, Flo, you do get in your own head, and fair play to her. I'm not making excuses for stepping up, but I have a feeling at this point, if they were to get another one, you're going to have to change the penalty taker in that moment.
I missed a penalty once, grassroots football, I cried there.
No, I feel ya. I've only missed 2 in my career, and I remember them like they were yesterday. It's the worst feeling as well. Like, you feel like you've let your team down, and it's a horrible feeling. But Hegerberg's got to get that out of her head in this moment, because they still need her. There's still 30 minutes to go, and they need her in this game.
Manchester United's Elizabeth Turland, we can see her having a caffeine gel shirt ready to go, so might she be coming on soon? Might she be coming on for Hegerberg, in fact? 61 minutes played then. The Italians leading through that Cristiana Girelli goal after that miss from Ada Hegerberg from the penalty spot. And Norway looked a little flustered after that. They need to regain their composure, because before that they looked pretty solid. It's a good ball out to Bonansea. Graham Hansen wins it back, posts it back to Bielda, finds Mornan on the edge of the penalty area, square to Gopset, edge of the box, up against Oliviero, gets it onto her left, hits it across goal. Salvai there to clean up. Oliviero now racing forward, fouled by Gopset, free kick for Italy.
That is not a foul for me. Gopset, she doesn't do anything in that situation. Clever play from Oliviero in this moment, and I hope it's not Hegerberg that's coming off, because it could be any of the Norwegian players that come off, to be honest. I mean, they've been quite poor in this game in the frontline area, and I think if you're chasing a game, you don't take off Hegerberg, you keep her on the field of play, you take off, you sacrifice one of the defenders, and then you keep her in the game. Bring on Turner, and we know how good she is at scoring goals, but again, they're not really creating anything in those areas. For me, I think they should go to a 3-back, take off Mielda, go into a 3, bring England back into the back line, and then keep Hegerberg on as well, because they need goals.
And that missed penalty really riled up the crowd as well. The Italians in the stadium here making a real racket, a real noise. Gopset for Norway has the ball, puts it back to Engen. She plays it out to Mielda, out on the right, travels over the halfway line, finds Graham Hansen out on the touch line. 2 Italian players by her, Bonansea and Severini. She skips easily past Bonansea. Graham Hansen shows too much of it over to Guglielmo, who pokes it out of play for a throw-in. And Graham Hansen has that individual quality. She can beat a player, but can she find a teammate? Yeah,
it's an interesting one, because Graham Hansen has barely touched the ball in this game, and when she has, she's looked really effective and good. But I think the problem is, it's the midfield area. They're just not switching the point of attack, Norway. They're not creating opportunities.
First change of the game then, and it's not Hegerberg that's coming off, it's Arsenal's Frida Mornham. On comes Manchester United's Elizabeth Turland. Interesting to see how she fits in then to this side. Currently lingering on the edge of the penalty area as the ball goes into the Italian box. Oliviero and Gopset fighting for the ball, a bit of a mismatch in terms of physicality. Gopset only 20 years of age, but rather big figure compared to the slight frame of Oliviero, and it's not behind for a goal kick for Italy.
Yeah, this is a big 10 minutes for Italy, because Norway look like they're coming back into this game. They're creating more opportunities, they're going a little bit higher, they're pressing a bit higher, and they're creating a few opportunities. in that attacking area. So Italy just need to kind of weather the storm a little bit, take their foot off the gas, possess the ball a little bit, because I think Norway, last 5 minutes or so, have really come back into this game.
Looks like Elizabeth Turland just sitting behind Hegerberg, almost like a number 10 position. Got double figures for Manchester United this season in the WSL. Started the last game against Iceland. As the ball's played in behind for Norway's Hegerberg. He pokes it past the goalkeeper and levels things for Norway. From absolutely nothing, just a ball over the top. And Hegerberg finishes to redeem that missed penalty. Norway won, Italy won.
Such poor defending, taking nothing away from the finish from Hegerberg, but it is such poor defending from Di Guglielmo, from Linari in that moment. You cannot have one ball that beats you. And then you can see Laura Giuliani's looking as if to say, why has no one gone to the ball? There was no pressure on the ball, and it's one ball that's just beaten their entire back line of this Italian back line, and it's a brilliant finish from Hegerberg, and I'm so glad that Gemma Granger left her on the pitch, because that's exactly what she can do. And then by the time Giuliani comes out, Hegerberg's already tapped it past her, but it's a straight ball from Maramielda. Pretty bread and butter for me from the Italians to be able to defend this. There was no pressure on the ball. Laura Giuliani needs to be a little bit higher as well, but it's a great finish from Hegerberg, but poor defending from Italy.
Well, Norway have their attempt on target, and it's the goal, 1-1.
And I was just saying, wasn't I, Flo, the fact that Italy need to weather this storm a little bit, because you could see in the last 5-10 minutes, although Norway have been really underwhelming, they've kind of come back into this game. They're high pressing, and it'll be interesting now because Turland is on as well, so I have no doubt they'll continue to push in this game. This is what this Norwegian team have done this whole tournament. They've been poor individually, collectively, and they still seem to find a way. It's quite strange.
1-1 then. Caruso for Italy in the centre circle, crowded out by two Norway players. Free kick given in her favour though. Italy want to get going straight away. They do. Oliviero, that right wing back, just over the halfway line, plays the ball forward looking for Cantore, headed out, but Giuliano wins it back ahead of Turland, and Salvai skips past Turland, plays it forward to Girelli, who lays it off to Salvai. Cantore now out on the right hand flank, up against Wrighton. Back to Caruso, just inside the penalty area. She's got red shirts all around her. Picks Cantore out, finds a wonderful ball to Salvai. Salvai lifts it into the box. Severini heads it. Cantore lays it back, all the way back to Linare. Italy still in possession, but in the centre circle.
Yeah, it was a decent ball in from Salvai. You can see Severini was creeping there on the back post. But I think this second half has been far better than the first half, Flo. It wasn't the most greatest of halves in the first half, but I thought Italy were better. And it's interesting because you did mention that Norway seemed to always come from behind in games, and I felt like this game would be one goal, and Italy looked like, they scored, it got disallowed. I think it's been a really good second half.
Yeah, as the first half was a little bland, wasn't it? So, 1-1 the score. You're listening to TalkSport 2, the Women's Euros. Leanne Sanderson, former England forward alongside me. Goal set for Norway. Comes over the halfway then on the left, sides it forward for Turland. Corner of the box, Giuliano for company. Cuts it back, Hegerberg meets it and blazes it over. Goal kick for Italy, but the momentum has shifted now.
It has shifted. It was a really good ball from Gobset down this left-hand side. And you can see by the time the ball fell to Hegerberg in and around the penalty spot, she just takes a swing at it, doesn't quite catch hold of it, and it goes over. But that's what Norway are really good at historically, getting down the end line, delivering on the run, being able to provide a service. And, Hegerberg has had really minimal touches within this game.
Yes, he has. One penalty miss, but one goal. 1-1 at the score as we approach the 70th minute. Oliviero. Italy in possession. Girelli flicks it on to Cantore. 30 yards out. Caruso on the overlap. But Engen does well to win it back from a Barcelona player, now with Lyon. And the ball from Graham Hansen out to Gopes on this left is a good one. Norway looking much more confident now, they're level. Now they've got that goal. Gopes edging forward, Oliviero backing off, goes for the shot, takes a ricochet, and Italy were a little bit tentative in their clearance behind for a corner.
Something so simple as well, Flo, is the fact that Engen is connecting her passes in the midfield now. I think, they're a little bit closer together in the midfield. which is allowing to provide that service to the front line. And you know, Golpset's creeping in this game. Every single time she gets the ball, great things happen when it comes to her.
You're listening to the Women's Euros live on TalkSport 2 with McDonald's. Try the new and iconic Big Arch now. 70 minutes played. Norway 1, Italy 1. Corner for the Norwegians. Guru Reiten of Chelsea over to deliver. Ingrid Engen just a little bit too close to the Italian goalkeeper. Referee Stephanie Flappart coming over to have a word. No Italian player trying to protect her goalkeeper from Engen, which is a little unusual. One hand up in the air from Reiten. In swinger, doesn't beat the first player though. Di Guglielmo heads behind for another corner.
It is quite strange because historically we know every team's zonal marks, but I'm quite surprised that nobody went on Engen because she's there all on her own. It wasn't the greatest of balls into the box. It was good defending from Di Guglielmo in that moment. Now they get another corner from the right hand side.
This time it's Manchester United's Lisa Narsund over to deliver. This her 30th cap. But Norway plays it to the edge of the box for Tuva Hansen. She lifts it into the box, headed up. Norway trying to get the F off. Golpset's shot blocked. Guru Reiten goes all the way back to Bielda. She plays the ball back towards the penalty area, headed across by Nielda. Bobbling around in the box, cleared by the Italians. Girelli now collects deep inside her own half. Wins the throw-in. Off Northland, Italy throw, and they relieve a little bit of the pressure.
I'll tell you what, this is some clearance from Bonancia, like the tackle to put herself on the line, and that's something I think Italy have done really good. Bonancia is not necessarily known for her defending, she's usually on the attack, but this block she did on Golpset was a fantastic block.
Italy in possession. Gift it straight back to Norway there, and since getting level, Norway having more of the ball and winning those one-on-one duels.
They have, and this is what they've done historically throughout this tournament. You know, since minute one, they haven't had their best performances, but they seem to know how to win games. And isn't that the characteristics of a good side, I guess? But I think when you look at them, they're not easy on the eye when you're watching them. It's hard to know what they're trying to do when they've got the ball. You know, their actions. I think for Italy, you can see exactly what they're trying to do when they've got the ball, trying to play through the lines. I think for Norway, they're a bit more reactive as opposed to being proactive. But again, they creeped back into this game, and I think they've probably been the better team in the last 10 minutes.
Last time these sides met in the qualification phases for this tournament, it was actually 1-1. That's the score currently. Cannot end like that, though. There will be extra time and penalties if required to find out who will be in the semi-final. The winner of this game, of course, will play either England or Sweden. That's the side of the draw, which they're on. Full coverage of England's game against Sweden tomorrow on TalkSport, 8 p.m. Kick-off that one. Join us for that. Graham Hansen has the ball for Norway out on the right, up against Di Guglielmo. A couple of step-overs, running in field, plays it across to Hegerberg, cleared by Salvai, but it's all Norway now at the moment. 73 minutes played, 1-1. Graham Hansen. Di Guglielmo is trying to get close to her, but she is so good. She looks like she's almost playing in a different time zone. Graham Hansen just looks quite slow, but people can't get near her, can't touch her. It's out with Turland, infield to Golpset. Past Oliviero into the penalty area. It's good defending from the Italian. Gets it back. Pokes it out to Cantore, but Italy's struggling to get the ball out of their own half, really. Salvai punches it forward.
Yeah, momentum has definitely shifted to Norway. You can see they're being pinned back. Oliviero's been pinned back. Cantore's been pinned back quite a lot in this second half. I'll be interested to see what Italy do tactically, because I think Norway look like the team that's more likely to score. But then this game, momentum has switched, you know, many times. At one point it looked like Italy were going to win the game comfortably. After they scored, they took it to another level, and now Norway are looking decent.
Yeah, as you say, Leanne, in that first half particularly, Bonansea, the left wing back, and Oliviero, the right wing back for Italy, were getting a lot of space in attacking areas going forward, but they're kind of pinned back now that Elizabeth Turland's come forward, come into the game, and Norway's shapes shifted a little bit, and Italy struggling to retain the ball.
They are, and I think Guro Reiten has done a fantastic job in this left back position, because it's not her, historically she's not known for playing there, and it looks like they've actually gone into a 3-back now, and she's gone on the inside. So I'd like to see Guro Wrighton go a little bit higher in this game. Hopefully Gemma Granger will make that tactical change at some point soon, because I do think she's just so good when she's attacking and in those areas.
Mjelde on the ball for Norway. She got the assist for that Hegerberg equaliser. She plays a straightforward pass to Graham Hansen, who plays it out to the right for Mjelde. Back to Graham Hansen in the penalty area. Ball across is a good one, and it's cleared at the back post by Oliviero. She had to get that because Gopset was lingering.
That is some ball from Caroline Graham Hansen. Mjelde did a really good job on the initial play, playing it a reverse pass back to Caroline Graham Hansen. You could see there were 3 players lining up. Hegerberg, Gopset was there as well. Hegerberg looked a little bit frustrated, as if to say, why did Gopset not make that run? But it was just unfortunate. There's such a good ball into the box that none of the players were up to the speed of play in that moment.
A quarter of an hour to play. Norway 1, Italy 1. Norway with a corner. In it comes, cleared by Caruso, and then hit by Graham Hansen into bodies. And Italy's Cantoro pokes it away, but Italy are on the ropes here.
They are, and Norway, it looks like only a matter of time. Wow, how's the momentum changed in this game? Because at one point it looked like Norway were nowhere near going to score, but they seem to have just kicked into another gear in the last 10 minutes or so.
And will Italy's manager make changes? In fact, yes, he will. He's got 2 changes now coming on to the pitch. Severini is coming off, as is Bonansea coming on to the pitch. Number 20, Giada Greggi, and Cambiaggi as well. So Greggi and Cambiaggi on. Cambiaggi came on as a sub in all 3 group games. Throw in for Norway, taken quickly by Wrighton, thrown into the penalty area, collected by the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I was saying that I feel like a substitution in this game would make a difference, but I thought more so for Norway. I'd expect Bizet to come into this game as well, and the fact that Gemma Granger's only made 1 substitution is quite surprising. But for me, those substitutions lead me to believe that Italy are certainly going for this game. They think it's winnable. They definitely needed to make a tactical substitution though, because Norway looked like the team that had the upper hand in the last 10 or 15 minutes.
So how will Italy reshape things then in this match? Tuva Hansen in possession for the Norwegians, trotting forward under no pressure, slides it into Wrighton. She plays a wonderful ball into Hegerberg, hits her hip on the edge of the box, still has it. Hegerberg gets the ball into the penalty area, no one's there from Norway, and Di Guglielmo collects and clears up to Cantore, who's now looks like she's operating from the left hand side, with Cambiaggi playing on the right, in a right wing type position.
I think the problem for her in this second half is the fact that Salvai and Linari look a bit all over the place. You know, they're very good positioning. In the first half they look really organised, but I think that one ball that beat them in behind for Hegerberg, and then Salvai's positioning just looks a little bit off to me. They look a little bit tired, this Italian team.
Yeah, they do. They have plenty of direct, quick passing in that first half, but under the cosh a little bit now that the score's 1-1 after that Hegerberg equaliser. Oliviero, the fullback, goes back to her goalkeeper. Hegerberg's pressing. Giuliano hits it long. Cambiaggi now, the substitute, over the halfway line. Runs past Engen. Her ball though to Cantore is a poor one. It's easily cleared, but it is a clearance rather than a pass, and Oliviero will go back to her goalkeeper once again, and the Italians build from the back. That's a poor clearance. Norway in possession. Ball up, looking for Turland. Italy clear. Giuliano now, midway inside her own half.
Italy needs somebody like Giuliano to just put their foot on the ball, you know, take a little bit of sting out of the game a little bit. You can see Caruso picked up the ball there, and she was telling everyone to calm down. She had her arms out wide, because right now it just looks like they can't really connect their passes that much, the Italian team.
Just as you say that, Giuliano does get the ball, finds Cantore, who from about 25 yards out blazes it over the bar, and that's not what Italy need. They need to hold the ball rather than go for speculative efforts like that.
Yeah, fantastic ball, switch the point of attack from Giuliano, but it's a poor effort from me. from Cantore. You know, you've got the overload on the left-hand side, just the wrong decision in the end. Giuliano made a fantastic switch to point of attack, and to be fair, Cantore, she has every right to go for goal, but it's just poor execution.
Approaching the 80th minute, Norway 1, Italy 1 here on TalkSport 2. This is the first quarter-final of the Women's Euros. One of these sides will be through to the semi-final by the end of this evening, where they will face either England or Spain. Full coverage, of course, of that England-Sweden even, that England-Sweden quarter-final tomorrow on TalkSport Live. Kick-off at 8 p.m. Italy in possession. Di Guglielmo, the left-sided centre-half, knocks it out of play for a Norway throw-in. Can either of these sides find a winner in the final 10 minutes?
You know what, it didn't look that way, but the way the game has shifted, the momentum, you know, after Italy scored, it looked like they were going to win the game. They looked like they were going to score again, and then now, Norway, since they've made those substitutions, I think they've made a massive difference. And not necessarily it's because Turlin's been on the ball, but I think just tactically it seems like Italy have been all over the place in the back line. They just can't keep hold of it. They're giving away the ball quite wastefully. Linari, Salvai, Giuliano hasn't really been on the ball at all.
As you say, Leanne, the Italians do look a little bit like they've run out of puff. As one of the substitutes, Greggi, who still has a bit of energy, presses well and wins a throw-in for her side. And maybe those Italian changes that they just made will inject that pace and that energy that they need.
Yeah, I think they've had a good game today. I mean, the first half, they certainly were high pressing it. It's hard to sustain that. It doesn't matter how fit you are. It's hard to sustain that. But I think because Norway have decided they want to turn it on in this second half, in the last 20 minutes or so, it's been difficult, and then it leads you to wonder, well, where was this Norwegian team at the beginning? Because if they played like this, Italy can't get anywhere near them right now.
If you take the throw up to Cambiaggi, and Tuva Hansen pokes it out for a corner for Italy, and out of nothing, Italy have a corner, and this might be a useful opportunity for them.
Yeah, definitely. They need to capitalise on it. The opportunities for Italy have been few and far between the last 20 minutes or so. Norway have had a lot of opportunities down the right-hand side, putting the ball in the box from Caroline Graham Hansen. But this is an opportunity here. Giuliano's gone out there. Luciana Girelli, Salvai, Linari will be the people that she's trying to aim for.
The Italians in the crowd making noise in anticipation of this corner for their team. Green shirts all around the penalty area. Giuliani with one hand in the air. Plays it to the edge of the box, but Caruso hits it first time on the volley, and it spins behind for a goal kick.
I'll tell you what, this is a big arse. It's a fantastic corner, you know, and I spoke about it in the first half. Caruso has this in her locker, and the fact that she's able to keep this down and doesn't panic, and the technique, it's a big arse though, you know. I'm all for trying intricacies on set pieces, but you're asking like for her to pull out a Paul Scholes out of the bag, you know, that's a big arse, you know, from 25 yards out on the volley.
Might have been better just getting it into the mixer.
Yeah, but she does well to keep it down, to be fair. Eyes on the ball.
1-1 as things stand though. Hegerberg equalising for the Norwegians after missing from the penalty spot, penalty which she won. Will one of these teams find a winner in the 90 minutes, or are we headed for extra time and potentially penalties? 7 minutes to go until that.
Fair play to Hegerberg as well, because psychologically when you miss a penalty, now she's missed 2 in this competition, that can get in your head, but she continued to push. You know, she got on the score sheet, she won the penalty, and you need those types of players. Although she's had a quiet game, relatively speaking, I think she's had a quiet tournament, barely touched the ball, but that's due to the fact that Norway just haven't really had any build-up play.
Norway's Bielda, their right back, is off the field at the moment, getting some treatment on her knee, just took a caffeine gel as well. So Norway are playing with 10 players presently with 6 minutes to go. Can the Italians capitalise on that? I don't know if Norway are going to have to make a change with Bielda. They don't seem to be readying anybody. Oliviero takes the throw-in back to Salvai, 10 yards inside her own half. She plays it left square to Linari in the centre circle. Italy in possession, 1-1 the scores. Greggi plays a pretty awful pass back to Salvai, has to run back and collect it. She plays it up to Caruso just on the halfway line, square to Oliviero. Nice build up this from Italy, and then Oliviero plays it over the top just as Girelli had run to collect short.
Yeah, that was a poor ball from Greggi. Salvai did a relatively good job trying to get on the end of it and to play a ball into the midfield. But I think, if this game stays the way it is, I think it plays into Norway's hands, because Italy, they look quite tired. They haven't really been pressing in the second half. I think it will play into Norway's hand if this does go into extra time, but there's still some time.
5 minutes to go. Norway 1, Italy 1. Bielda back on the pitch for Norway. She's going to be okay to carry on. No Bratberg Lund. Of course, she's suspended. She got sent off against Iceland, so they're a little short in the defensive positions, Norway. As England wins it in the midfield, finds Gopsa. 4 green shirts, Italian shirts around her. She goes back to Guru Reiten. She skips past Cambiaggi, plays it back into Gopsa on the left, up against Oliviero, edging towards the box from a wide angle. Puts it back to Engen, cries of shoot, and she goes for the curler, but it's about a yard wide.
Yeah, it was interesting because Gopsa received the ball higher, Giro Reiten was higher, and that's the best she's looked in this game on the attack. And I think for Engen, it looked like she got caught in two minds, to be fair, because it looked like she was almost like a cross-come shot. And I think if she had it in her mind, one or the other, it could have been quite dangerous. It goes agonisingly wide, but I do think she got caught in two minds.
Wasn't sure whether she should try and pick out Hegerberg, a player that she'll be playing with at Lyon. She's left Barcelona. And with Engen, she wins the ball in the field. Free kick, though, given against Guru Reiten for a foul on an Italian player, and Italy with the reprieve have the free kick, but Norway going to make a change before the free kick can be taken. It's fullback Voldvik who is coming on. Right back started the game against Iceland. She comes on for Bielda, who looks like she might have been struggling after going off and getting treatment on her knee, so probably a like-for-like change there.
Yeah, probably not a substitution that Gemma Granger would have wanted to make, especially in that back line area. I thought Bielda's had a fantastic game. She's always looked active. It looked like she picked up a bit of an injury there.
Volvic sprinting on to the pitch. Long blonde hair tied back in a ponytail. Very Norwegian looking. Salvai for Italy into Giuliano. She plays it down the channel. One back by Guru Reiten though. Guru Reiten now coming forward. Inside pass to Hegerberg, holds it up against the pressure of Greggi, finds Narsund, and Norway decide to hold on to the ball and go backwards rather than risk possession. Tuva Hansen now. Back to Guru Reiten. Over the halfway line to Gopsa. She finds Turlin on the left, up against Giuliano, who's just tracking the Manchester United forward. Norway trying to hold on to it. Girelli trying to intercept, hurts herself in the process, goes down as holding her lower back. It's painful when you land on your coccyx. She's 35 years of age, Girelli. Only playing 90 minutes here.
Yeah, I mean, initially when I saw it, it looked like a foul, but it actually looked like she got to the ball second.
Might we see a change if we go into extra time? They've got Piemonte on the bench, the Italians. Forward for Lazio, had a season in the WSL with Everton. She started the last game up against Spain. Held the ball up well, actually, I thought.
Yeah, I think the Italians, they usually have a lot of strength in depth, but I think in this competition, in this tournament, they were able to rest Cristiano Girelli against Spain in the last game, but I don't think they have a lot off the bench, whereas previously, I think you can look and think, okay, they can bring players on, and just as you say that, right on cue, Flo, she's coming in.
Piemonte's warming up. I'm really pleased with that one, Leanne.
I know, that was brilliant.
Predicted it. Guru Reiten then in possession for the Norwegians.
Remember what I predicted? Extra time and penalties.
You did, and we are heading for that six-stand. 89th minute, Norway 1, Italy 1 in this quarter-final of the Women's Euros. A Norway long ball is collected by Giuliano over the halfway line, pokes it into Girelli, who's looking a little injured, to be honest. Fired forward by Giuliano, hits Norseland, but Greggi has it now for the Italians. Out to Cantore on the right, up against Voldvik, the Norwegian substitute. Cantore lifts the ball into the box and it's headed by Girelli, and it's in! And Italy might have won it late. Cristiano Girelli with the header. The Italian manager running along the touchline to celebrate a huddle. with the Italian players. And has Cristiana Girelli just fired her team into the semi-final?
Unbelievable. What a ball, what a goal. We spoke about Cristiana Girelli being so good in the air, and that is what she is great at. Cantore is a brilliant ball into the box, and you wouldn't want it to fall to anyone other than Cristiana Girelli. She's left everything out on that field today. Her legs look like they were going in this game, but that ball was brilliant from Cantore, and Girelli puts it in the back of the net in the 90th minute. Unbelievable.
When that ball went in, it was almost like a magnet to Girelli's head. It looked inevitable. 3 goals now for her in this Euros. I was trying to retire her a minute ago, Leanne. Wonderful goal for Italy. They lead Norway by 2-1, 90 minutes played.
And this is exactly what you need to do in these types of moments. It's a brilliant ball from Cantore. What a ball that is. It's a gift. And again, Girelli still had a lot to do in this moment. And Norway just switched off. I spoke about the momentum being with Norway, and it looked like it was actually Guro Reiten that looked like she switched off on that back post area. She's been excellent defensively, playing out of position, but look at that from Cristiana Girelli. What a finish, what a goal.
Same combination for the first goal. Cantore with the assist, Girelli with the finish. 4 minutes then of stoppage time at the end of the 90 for Norway to save their Euros campaign. Cantore with the ball for the Italians, out on the left-hand side in Norway's half, wins a throw-in. We've played 1 minute of the 4, and Italy might just be heading to the first semi-final for quite a long time for them. They're making some changes now, so Piemonte is coming on, as is Lenzini, as Cristiana Girelli takes off the captain's armband, gives it to Linari. That headed goal to give her side the lead, her last action of this game.
This is what football is all about. The scenes we're seeing. Andrea Sončić running down the touchline, you know, the perfect time to score. The players are there. It's just absolutely incredible, really. It's what football's all about. Lenzini will probably feel really disappointed to not start this game, because she's actually started a lot for Italy during this tournament. But they just should be able to see out the game now. There won't be a lot of time. You know, we've got 4 minutes added on, but there won't be a lot of time left to play. And this is what football is all about. Cristiana Girelli, 35 years old, scoring for her country in the quarter-final to put them what looks like into the semi.
Cantore also off, so those two that combined for both Italy's goals come off. Lenzini and Piemonte to try and see this game out for the Italians. They've got the ball though in Norway's box, and they actually win a corner. Norway look shocked.
They certainly do, and this game has actually been really good in the second half. The first half I thought was really, really poor. We're seeing scenes of Cristiana Girelli off the field of play now, but getting the crowd going, perfect time to score, leads this team in an incredible way. Everybody needs a Cristiana Girelli in their team, because she always stands up when it really matters. Couldn't be quiet in games, and all of a sudden can turn it on. It looks like they're going to keep the ball in the corner flag now.
We've only got 1 minute of the 4 left. Piemonte holding the ball up by the corner flag. Voldvik wins it back for Norway and hits it forward, but it's met by Italian defender. They play it back to Lenzini. She finds Oliviero, the right back, who fires that ball forward. Looking for Piemonte up against Voldvik. The Norwegian defender can only poke it out for a throw, and then Norway might not have time to even have a chance to get level here. Time running out for them. Italy have a throw in deep in Norwegian territory.
Yeah, the way this game was planned out in the second half has been really end-to-end. Norway had the momentum, 20 seconds to go. Italy will just keep it in this right-hand corner now. Game management, all those dark arts that you hate as a player when you're going against it.
Throw into Piemonte. She tries to knock it off a Norway defender for a corner. And has she won that corner? Girelli still making her way around the pitch, cheering on the Italian fans. They adore her, giving her all the adulation she deserves. And Italy do in fact have a corner. Andrea Sončić giving a big hug to Girelli on the sidelines. And there's not enough time for the corner to be taken. Italy have done it.